Hello from the control room and welcome. I'm Andy Jones, and today I'm going to be broadcasting to you my live review of ÉLAN by NIGHTWISH. Live review because last week I hit the 2,000 subscribers and I did a celebratory live stream, and this is one of the songs I looked at. And I ended up having quite a bit more to say about it than I thought I would, so I'm going to keep this introduction short. All I'm going to tell you is it was really fun to look at ÉLAN. And in the meantime, it's become my daughter's favourite NIGHTWISH song, possibly even their favourite floor song, overtaking Euphoria. If you're not familiar with my channel already, of course, the subscribe button is a good place to start if you enjoy what I've been doing here. And I will be doing further live streams where you can have input into the reactions and reviews that I do, partly here on YouTube and also partly on Twitch. So do follow my channel on Twitch as well, also Andy Jones Official. And do connect with my Discord too, because on that server you'll find that you can put in requests in advance that I will make sure that I look at then if you're in the room when the live stream happens. It's definitely worth checking out. The link is in the description here below. And if you really enjoy what I do, there's also the option of lots of bonus content by checking out my Patreon, which is also linked up here at the top. So check that out. In the meantime though, here is my review of ÉLAN by NIGHTWISH. Enjoy it.
Something tells me you might know this one too. And you singing along sounds so beautiful. Please join us again, as loud and beautiful as you can.
Right then, before we carry on to the next round of the song, let's talk about a few things. So, firstly, look at all that kind of optical work on the stage, all that imagery in the background, lots happening there. And this is why, you know, NIGHTWISH has got such a great crew. They've done, you know, the stage show they put together is just massive. And there's so much going on there, just, you know, the detail. Even in things like the mic stands, if you take a look at Troy there and his microphone stand, they make such imagery around everything they do on the stage. It's not just people standing on the stage and playing. So I really appreciate the efforts that NIGHTWISH go to put together a really cool stage show. That's the starting point. Next thing, the personnel on the stage. So I guess, you know, any NIGHTWISH fans in the room will know this already, but for those of you that don't, we've got Floor Jansen on the vocals, and she is the vocalist of NIGHTWISH now and has been since 2012. This was the first album upon which Floor provided the vocals in the studio, and this means this is the first lead single out of an album with Floor singing on it. So it's a bit special, this song, just for that reason already. And it's also the first album in which Troy, that you can see here on the screen, is a full-time permanent member of NIGHTWISH. He's provided instruments for other albums in the past, but this is the first time he's a full member of the band on this album. So it's a bit of a special song for him as well, I guess, and he's taking quite a prominent role in it as well. On the keyboards, you've got Tuomas Holopainen, who is the kind of brain behind NIGHTWISH. He's the composer. He's also the, well, one of the two founding members of the band that's still in it. And he's the keyboardist. You've got Empu on the guitar, and he's the other founding member of NIGHTWISH who's still in the band. And then you've got Marko Hittala on the bass, who very sadly is no longer with the band anymore. And then you've got Kai on the drums in this performance. Kai having stepped up to record this album as a session musician, and shortly afterwards having been inducted into the band as a full-time member after the drummer before him, Jukka, the original drummer, had to step down because his health was not allowing him to continue performing to the same level. So that's the personnel on stage, and they're all doing so much already. You know, you hear that Troy is taking the lead instrumentally on this one, and still there's lots going on in the background. Empu's providing a really solid kind of guitar line in there, mostly just chords. Marco's very active on the bass, really cool licks going on there, and Kai is doing very, very well on the drums as well. Thomas is providing some beautiful strings, especially in the higher notes kind of just before the chorus, to ramp up the pressure a little bit and the mood and the intensity before the chorus kicks in. And then you'd almost expect kind of a more shocking chorus, but actually it's this happy, even though it's led with a minor chord, it's still quite a happy and optimistic sounding chorus. And I guess this is the point where it's worth looking at the lyrics a little bit. So I have to admit, there's a lot in the lyrics that I'm not too sure how to interpret. I mean, the first verse here is, you know, leave the sleep and let the springtime talk. Okay, that's understandable. In tongues from the time before man. Okay, listen to a daffodil tell her tale. That's nice. Just pay attention to nature. Just pay attention to what's going on around you. And that, of course, is the theme of the album in general. It's the album that also came up with the song Endless Forms Most Beautiful, which is what the album's named after. Also the album with the greatest show on earth. So much going on in this album about nature and how we should listen to it and appreciate it. Let the guest in, walk out, be the first to greet the morn. The meadows of heaven await harvest. And harvest is a nice kind of signal word because in the current album we have the song Harvest. And the cliffs unjump, cold waters untouched. So lots of nature happening. The elsewhere creatures yet unseen. Finally, your number came up, which is interesting. I don't know what that means exactly. If your number comes up, you know, normally it means you're dying. Free fall awaits the brave. So maybe there is something in there about this kind of circle of life, life and death, that kind of thing. And in the chorus, you know, this is these lyrics that we'll see again. Come taste the wine, race the blind. We will guide you from the light. Writing noughts till the end of time. And this is interesting. What does that mean? Writing noughts till the end of time. Is that something, some kind of tradition somewhere that I don't know about? Surf the clouds, race the dark. It feeds from the runs undone. Meet me where the cliff greets the sea. And that's an interesting line because in How's the Heart from the current album, it harkens back to this line. And it's seemingly about Flor and how she kind of met her husband. And the kind of evolution of their relationship. So I don't know whether that also begins in this song already. What I'd also like to mention is the nice sneaky little key change at the very beginning of the song. So the introduction to the song where Troy's playing and there's a little bit of keyboard in the background from Thomas is, you know, initially it's in one key. And then as the song kicks in, it goes up a key. And NIGHTWISH are very good at this. There's lots of songs where they change the key partway through. Nemo being another example. So fun little key change right off the bat there. And that's not that usual for NIGHTWISH. It usually takes a while into the song before that happens, but there it is. Okay, I've talked enough. Let us carry on.
The answer to the riddle before
And I've got to stop right there because in a minute something else interesting will happen and we don't want to miss that, right? So, what I want to talk about first is the second verse there. We get back in and it's quieting back down. Let me take you through the lyrics a little bit there. The answer to the riddle before your eyes is in dead leaves and fleeting skies. Again, lots of imagery from nature. Returning swans and sedulous mice, writings on the garden's book in the minutes of a lover's look. So again, combining nature with humans. And theme again, you know, human nature, the album right now. So this is a really big theme for Thomas, and it comes across a lot in his lyrics, that romance and nature are somehow interwoven, that the human and the nature are interwoven as well. The next part here, building a sandcastle close to the shore. A house of cards from a worn out deck. Now is the sandcastle and the house of cards, that's really cool imagery to put opposite each other. You know, the sandcastle is also a temporary thing, as is a house of cards. So what's this telling us? Is that telling us that the man-made structures that we're going to build in life are going to kind of collapse around us at some point, and that we should be depending instead on nature? A home from the fellowship, poise and calm, writing lyrics for the song only you can understand. And that, I like that. I really like that. You know, there's so many things that I think of sometimes that I think only I will ever understand this, because people, you know, just won't understand me. I don't know if anybody else feels like that sometimes, but that is the kind of thing that, you know, I know that Thomas has felt like that before. He's written about it in songs as well. Yeah. So we've talked about the chorus already. What I really like when we get out of the chorus here, I love the level of detail in Troy's thinking when he plays, because he starts the song with the low whistle, and he's now moved on to this kind of really small, high tin whistle. And he does exactly the same thing actually on Nemo. He didn't originally because he wasn't in the band when they recorded Nemo, but in the live version recently, in the Endless Form's Most Beautiful tour, and also very recently in the Islander's Arms, the online shows that they did last week, he did exactly the same thing. He started the song with his low whistle and then transitioned in the middle of the song to his tin whistle there. So just so much detail, just jumping an octave, taking a different instrument. And that's the thing about Troy, he's so versatile, moving from one instrument to the next. So really appreciate Troy. And I have to admit, I didn't initially when he joined the band. I thought, okay, this is nice, but it's a bit of a gimmick. He plays a few songs, disappears again. What's the point, really? And when he became a member of the band, and when he really started integrating himself into the composition and adding his own parts to the music, and then went back through the back catalogue and added things there, I came to realize, you know, firstly, how talented he is on so many instruments, and secondly, just what he brings to the band on a stage setting. And wow, definitely. And of course, he's a Northern Englishman like me, so I've got to appreciate him from that angle too. Okay, let's get to the end of the song now. Here we go. Well now, and there we go. So, a couple of things again. There's not a lot lyrically to talk about. We've just got that one little interlude to look at. Firstly, back to Troy. Really impressive backing vocals underneath the choruses. And this means, you know, Troy can't split himself into three parts, but what he can do is really look, where am I needed when? So here, the low whistle, here the vocals in the chorus, here the tin whistle, back to the vocals. So he's so versatile. And we saw that, of course, in the Islander's Arms show, where he was playing along with this as well. The one thing that was missing in the Islander's Arms show that we have here, of course, is Marco. Those vocals were missing for me a little bit in the Islander's Arms show, as well as they did, you know, and they absolutely made the best out of it, and Troy really stepped up. But the one thing that was missing for me were those kind of vocal lines that Marco did, because they simply don't have three vocalists right now to do all those parts. So there were a couple of occasions where that was missing for me a little bit, but that was unavoidable. There was nothing else they could do about it. So it was lovely seeing it with Marco again here. 2 further key changes over the course of that song. So from Troy's tin whistle part at the beginning of the section we just watched, they changed the key again as they went into the bridge part, and they changed it again as they went into the last chorus. So there are actually 4 different keys in this song. And don't ask me which they were because I'm not pitch perfect, but there were 4 different keys that they went through in this one track. So let's just talk about those last bit of lyrics. Riding hard, every shooting star. Come to life, open mind, have a laugh at the orthodox. Come, drink deep, let the dam of mind seep. Travel with great elan, dance a jig at the funeral. I like that. Travel with great elan and dance a jig at the funeral. I like that. That's a nice little kind of juxtaposition of the 2 elements. So also, being joyful even in death. And is it your funeral, somebody else's funeral? Whose is it? So interesting. And, Thomas is just such a wordsmith. He has so many kind of, ways of approaching the same idea, and beautifully done. So all we need to talk about still now, I think, is Floor's vocal for performance, because she's just majestic. And this is, again, I said before, this is the first single featuring her vocals that was actually recorded by her in the studio. So this is a bit special, and there's good reason that it's still in the set list, because it puts together a kind of happy opposite pole to some of the sadder songs that they do. So it's great when a happy song like this or Storytime appears in the set, lifts the mood, allows for some joy between all of the kind of difficult topics that sometimes get taken up in Nightwish's music. So Floor, just brilliant. And it's hard for a vocalist to kind of jump randomly between keys. Well, it's not random, but, jump between keys that often in a song. And makes it so natural, makes it so easy. Just great with the hook of the song, keeping people entertained, asking them again and again to join in. And yeah, really enjoyable to watch her. She looks happy, and there's a good reason for that. Okay. So I think I've covered everything I need to cover there. It just shows again how important these topics are of nature, of human connection, are to Thomas, kind of talking about how buildings and societies may be temporary, but nature is hopefully eternal, and that it is connected to us and that we should respect it and listen to it. Great. There we go. My daughter's favorite Nightwish song. Both of my daughters really love this. They call this the Shooting Star song. They don't know yet that Marco's no longer in the band, so they're going to be sad, I think, when they find that out. But they really do have fun sitting and watching the band and saying, who's that? Who's playing this? What instrument's that? What's he doing? It's so much fun watching this with my kids. So, yeah, turning into one of our family favorite Nightwish songs, this one. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in, and also a big shout out to the folks over at the Night Dreamers Reactor-Side Discord server. Really cool place to hang out if you like Nightwish's music. We talk a lot there about the band and the songs and reactions to them, and my reviews make an appearance there as well. And I get a lot of advice over there. Actually, I did a little poll on that server as to which version of ÉLAN we should look at. My daughters actually really liked the Buenos Aires performance, but it was the Tampere performance that won over in the Discord server, and it was really cool to look at it. So thank you so much, folks over there, and look forward to the next time. Until then, bye-bye.